Intuitive eating was such a game changer for me in recovery as well. And it's so wonderful over the last 12, 13 years to see it become so much more of a mainstream philosophy where more than 10 years ago you would say it to someone and they'd be like, well, what are you talking about? What is that? The only caveat I give when it's in the context of someone going through eating disorder recovery is to think of it more so as a destination rather than a process they're following. Because I've spoken to a lot of people who have felt very let down by the concept of intuitive eating purely because they've adopted it at a part of their recovery where it hasn't been supportive or it hasn't been appropriate. Because if somebody is locked in to their eating disorder and that's their intuition, and we're telling them, trust your intuition, trust the messages that your brain's sending you, trust the messages your body's sending you that you're not hungry or that you fear certain foods or that you have this huge anxiety response to changing when you eat or how you eat, and we're telling them to trust their intuition. If that's tied to eating disorder, disaster. And it then kind of robs them of the opportunity to explore it as an outcome when it is a more appropriate time for them to see intuitive eating as a possible outcome for them, right? I think for people who are recovering from things like chronic dieting, absolutely, I think that that can be something that they can follow. But in eating disorder recovery, I think very often people need something with more flexible structure, something that provides a bit of a safety net for them where they can then experiment on top of that safety net. And sometimes those safety nets are things like meal plans or, just guidance and advice given by their team, their dietitian, etc. And then what we're doing is we're setting goals for them and setting challenges for them, which help them to experiment outside of some of that structure so that they awaken that more healthy intuition and can become trusting of it over time. Like, we don't wake up one morning and go, oh, my eating disorder's gone. It's just been like amputated out of my brain. And so there's a bit more of like bridge building that we have to do between that eating disorder intuition and that healthy self intuition. And it's a bit more integrative versus we jump from one to the other. But again, it is always incredibly encouraging to me to see that out in the wider world, people are exploring the concept of intuitive eating and understand it in a more fundamental way than they did 10 years ago, where it was like, is this another fad diet? And it's like, it's the opposite, thank goodness.